Two consuls stand in front of an army. One of them will die before the next moon. He will ride into the enemy alone, and the enemy will close over him like water. The other will kill his own son. He will do it himself in front of 6,000 men, and he will call it the law. 340 BC, the plain south of Rome. A Latin farmer counts the new boundary stones and understands something he has spent his life not understanding. This is Roman Knights. We go back. We listen. We stay a while. 2 years earlier, before the war, when the question had not yet been asked out loud. A man stands at the edge of his own field, and the field is not where it used to end. 300 years of the same answer. The stone is new. It is gray, and the others are gray too, but this one has not yet learned the weather. The old stones are dark at the base where the rain pools. This one is clean. Someone said it here in the last season. The farmer's name does not matter to Rome, so we will not give it. Rome did not give it either. He has walked this line 1,000 times. He knows where his land stops the way he knows where his own arm stops. And the line has moved. Not far. A few paces. But it has moved, and it has moved toward him. He kneels. He puts his hand flat on the top of the stone. The morning is cold. The stone is colder. There is a frost still in the low places, where the sun has not reached. The smell is wet earth and old smoke from his own hearth, 50 paces back. He reads the marks on the stone. He cannot read words, but he knows these marks. They are Rome's marks. They say, "From here, Rome." His field is on the other side of the marks. He stays kneeling longer than he means to. The cold comes up through his knees and into him. A bird he does not look at sings somewhere behind him. The same 3 notes over and over. The way they do before the sun is fully up. The light is gray still, but it is changing. He has watched 1,000 mornings change like this. He has never watched one from his knees, in front of a stone, with his hand flat on its cold top, feeling something he has no name for. His field is on the other side of the marks. He has always known this. That is the thing he is trying to understand on this cold morning. He has always known it. He has never felt it. Now he feels it, and he does not know why today. Let us be clear about what this man is. He is a Latin. He was born in a town that is not Rome, 20 miles from Rome. The town speaks the same language as Rome. He prays to the same gods, Jupiter on the hill, Mars in the spring, the same gods with the same names who want the same things. His grandfather fought beside Romans. His father fought beside Romans. He has fought beside Romans himself. 3 times. He has stood in the line with a Roman shield against his left arm. A Roman on either side. They have all bled into the same ground. When the Gauls came, his people and the Romans ran from them together. When the Gauls left, his people and the Romans came back and rebuilt together. For 300 years it has been like this. The Latin towns and Rome, allies, brothers almost, they marry across the line. His own daughter married a man from a town nearer Rome than his own. His friends drink Roman wine and complain about Roman taxes the way Romans do. There was a treaty once. The old men still speak of it. After a war Rome nearly lost 3 centuries back, Rome and the Latin towns swore an oath. Equal shares of the spoils, equal duties in the field, help against any enemy on either side. The treaty had a name. The name was carved on a bronze pillar in the forum. The pillar still stands. The farmer has never seen it. He has only heard that it says they are equal. The pillar says one thing. The stones in his field say another. Somewhere between the bronze and the boundary, the equal shares stopped being equal. No war undid it. No vote undid it. It simply wore away, the way a path wears into a hillside. until one day the hill has a road in it, and no one remembers digging, and he cannot vote. That is the line on the stone. He can die for Rome. He has nearly done it 3 times. But the men in Rome who decide his wars are not men he chooses. They decide when he marches and where and against whom. He has no voice in the room where his life is spent. He thinks about the first time he marched. He was 17. The man on his right was a Roman, older, with a scar that pulled one eye half shut. The man taught him how to hold the shield so the weight sat on the bone and not the muscle. How to step. How to breathe in the line. He owed that man his life and never knew his name. The man marched home to a city where he could stand up and be counted. The farmer marched home to a town where he could not. They had carried the same shield. They had learned the same step. At the end of it, one of them was Roman. And one of them was something Rome did not have a clean word for. He has known this his whole life. It has never been heavy. This morning it is heavy. Here is the truth of the thing said plainly. Rome did not build this arrangement to be cruel. Rome built it because it worked. The Latins fight. Rome decides. The Latins get protection and trade, and a share of the land taken in the wars they help to win. It is not nothing. A man can build a life on it. This man has. But a thing that is not cruel can still be a cage. The bars are made of habit. 300 years of habit. No one chose them all at once. They were set down one stone at a time, a few paces at a time, always toward the Latin side. And no one ever called it a wall because each stone by itself was only a stone. This is how the strongest walls get built. Not all at once. Not with a decision anyone could point to and refuse. One stone and then it is normal and then another. The farmer does not think it in these words. He has no words for it. He only kneels in the frost with his hand on a cold new stone. And he feels, for the first time, the whole weight of the wall in this one piece of it. He stands up. His knees are old. They tell him he is old, the way they do every cold morning now. He looks down the line of stones. They run south, away from the road, over the small rise, down toward the river he cannot see from here. Gray stone after gray stone. The frost is burning off them now, one by one, as the sun finds them. From here, Rome. He has a thought, and the thought frightens him. He does not know yet what it will become. Within 2 years it will be a war. The thought is small. It is this. What if it did not have to be true? What if a man who fights in the line could stand in the room where the line is decided? What if the question had an answer that was not a stone? He has never thought it before. He thinks it now once. Then he is afraid of it. He pushes it down the way a man pushes down a thought about his own death. But it does not go all the way down. Stays just under where thoughts wait. He walks back toward the house. The smoke from the hearth is thin and straight in the still air. His wife is awake. He can hear the small sounds of a house that is awake. The scrape of a pot. A door. The dog that is too old to bark now and only lifts its head. He does not tell her what he felt at the stone. There is no way to say it. And she is a practical woman. She would ask him what he means to do about it. The honest answer is nothing. There is nothing a Latin farmer does about a stone. So he says nothing. He eats. The bread is yesterday's. The cheese is his own. Outside, the field is quiet. The frost is gone now. The new stone stands where it stands, clean and gray. It is learning the weather it will know for the next 400 years. In Rome, 20 miles north, men he will never meet are already talking. They are talking about him, in a way, not about him by name. They do not know his name, any more than we do. But they are talking about the towns like his and the men like him. They are talking about the question of what those men are owed, and what they are not. The talk has been going on quietly for years. It is about to stop being quiet. There are men in the Latin towns who have stopped being afraid of the thought the farmer pushed down. They have said it out loud to one another. Now they mean to say it out loud in Rome, in the room with the stones. To the men who decide, they will send one man to say it, a man named Annius. The farmer does not know this. He will hear of it later, the way ordinary men hear of the things that decide their lives. After, from someone else, when it is already too late to have a voice in it. He finishes his bread. He goes back out to the field. There is work to do, and the work does not care about stones. That is the one good thing about work. He works the morning through. The sun climbs. His back tells him, the way his knees told him, that he is older than he was last season. The field does not care about that either. The field only wants what it always wants, which is hands and time, and a man who shows up. He shows up. He has always shown up. It is the one thing no one can take from him, the showing up. He holds onto it the way a man holds onto the one thing that is fully his. He holds onto it when the larger things are being decided in rooms he will never enter. At midday he straightens and looks north toward Rome. The way a man looks toward whether he cannot do anything about. There is nothing to see, just the hills and the haze, and somewhere beyond them a city making a decision. He cannot hear it. He will not hear it for a long time, but he feels something, standing in his own field with the dirt of it on his hands. He feels that something has shifted, the way you feel a season turn a day or two before the air admits it. Then he bends back to the work. The work is still there. The work is always still there. It is going to be a hard year. He does not know that yet. He thinks it will be a year like the others. Plant and wait and watch the sky, and hope the men in Rome do not call him to march before the harvest. They will call him, not this year, next year, and when they call him it will not be to fight the Samnites or the Gauls. It will not be any of the old enemies whose names he knows. It will be to fight Romans. That is the thing none of them can imagine yet. Not on this cold, clean morning, with the frost burning off the stones. That the line could become a front. That brothers could become a battlefield. That the same shield, the same gods, the same blood, could end up on two sides of a river, with the water running red between them. The farmer goes back to his field. The stone watches him go. 2. The question said out loud. The Latin towns send one man. His name is Annius. He comes from a town that has fought beside Rome for as long as the town has existed. He has fought beside Rome himself. That is why they send him. A man Rome cannot dismiss as a stranger. The decision to send him was not made lightly, and it was not made quickly. The towns had met. They had argued the way men argue when they all know the stakes. None of them wanted to be the one who said the reckless thing out loud. Some wanted to keep waiting. Waiting had worked for 300 years after a fashion. Why not 300 more? Others said waiting was the trap. Every year of waiting was another year of stones moved a few paces toward the Latin side. And a thing you do not ask for, you are agreeing not to have. In the end, the second argument won. The bolder argument usually wins among men who feel they have already lost by inches. They chose to ask. They chose Annius to do the asking. And every man in that room knew, without saying it, that they were not really sending a request. They were sending a test. They wanted to know, finally, after 3 centuries, exactly what Rome thought they were. He climbs the Capitoline in the morning, when the Senate sits. The steps are worn smooth in the middle where 300 years of feet have climbed them. He climbs them like a man who has the right to. That is the first thing the Senate notices. The way he climbs the steps. The Senate has a way of receiving men. There is a hierarchy in the room, and the room teaches it to you before anyone speaks. Where you stand. How far from the center. whether a chair is brought, or you are left to stand on the worn floor while seated men look up at you, which is somehow worse than looking down. For an ally there is a particular distance, close enough to be heard, far enough to remember what you are. Annius walks past that distance. He does not do it loudly. He simply stops closer to the center than an ally stops. Pace closer. 2. The senators notice. They notice the way men notice a thing that is wrong without yet knowing what the thing is. The room arranges men. Annius has refused to be arranged. Let us be honest about what the Senate is. It is not a parliament. It does not pass laws by itself, not quite. It is older than that and stranger than that. It is a few hundred men, mostly from a few dozen families. They have decided among themselves that Rome is a thing they own in common and administer on its behalf. They would not say it that way. They would say they serve. And they do serve, many of them, at real cost in real wars with real blood. The service is not a lie. The ownership is also not a lie. Both are true at once. And the men in the room have spent their whole lives not noticing the second one. Because a thing you own from birth does not feel like ownership. Feels like the shape of the world. Annius has come to tell them the world has another shape. The consul who presides is Titus Manlius Torquatus. He is not a young man. He has the kind of face that has stopped expecting to be pleased. He earned his second name in a duel as a boy. He killed a Gaul and took the twisted collar from the dead man's neck and wore it. Torquatus, the man with the collar. He has worn it ever since. He is a man who keeps the things he takes. He keeps the orders he gives. He does not bend either one. The room knows this about him. Annius does not yet. He will. Manlius watches the Latin walk too close to the center. He says nothing. He has learned that silence makes other men fill the air with their cause. And a cause spoken in too much air starts to sound thin. So he waits. He lets Annius speak first. Annius speaks. He does not begin with grievance. That is his first mistake or his first strength, depending on which side of the room you sit. He begins with arithmetic. He says the Latin towns put as many men in the field as Rome does. Sometimes more. He says, in the wars of the last 100 years, Latin dead and Roman dead lie in the same ground. In roughly equal numbers. He has the numbers. He recites them dry, the way a man recites a debt he expects to be paid. This is the part the Senate did not expect. They expected anger. Anger they know how to answer. A man comes in angry, you let him spend it. And when it is spent, he is just a tired man asking for a favor. Annius is not angry. Annius is presenting an account. We have paid this, he says. We have paid it for 300 years. We are not asking for charity. We are asking for what an account this size is owed. And then he says the thing. He asks for two things. 1. That from now on, one of the 2 consuls of Rome be a Latin. Every year. Not a gift. A rule. 2. That half the seats in the Senate, this room, these men, be filled by Latins. Half. The room does not gasp. The room is too old to gasp. The room does something worse. It goes still in the particular way a room goes still, when every man in it has understood the same thing at the same instant. And the thing is not yet sayable. What they have understood is this. Annius has not come to ask to join Rome. He has come to dissolve it. Because a Rome with a Latin consul every year, and a Senate half Latin, is not Rome with allies. It is a new thing with no name, made of Rome and the Latin towns poured into one cup. And the cup is no longer Roman. The families who own the room would own half a room. The men who have spent their lives not noticing they own Rome would notice it for the first time. At the exact moment it stopped being true. Annius gives them the short version. 12 words, perhaps. Less. We fight your wars, he says. We will help decide them. It is fair. That is the unbearable part. By the arithmetic he brought, it is fair. The Senate could answer an unfair demand. They have no answer ready for a fair one. Fairness is not a thing the room was built to process. The room was built to hold an arrangement. The arrangement was never fair. And it worked anyway for 300 years. Precisely because no one stood this close to the center and said the word out loud. Annius has said it. Now it is in the room. Cannot be unsaid. The senators look at Manlius. It is his to answer. Manlius takes his time. He is a man who takes 1 or 2 beats before he answers anything. He does not do it for effect. He does it because he does not waste words. And a man who does not waste words has to know which ones he means before he lets them go. When he speaks, he is quiet. Quieter than Annius. The room leans toward him to hear. It is the oldest trick a powerful man knows. The one he never has to learn because it learns him. He does not argue the arithmetic. He does not say the Latins have paid less than they claim. He knows they have not. He does not pretend the demand is unfair. He is too proud to lie that small. He says instead the only thing that ends it. He says it will not happen. Not this year. Not in any year. That before he sees a Latin sit in the consul's chair, he will come into this Senate himself, with a sword, and kill the Latin with his own hand here on this floor. He says it without heat. That is what makes the room believe him. A man shouting a threat might be bluffing. A man stating a fact is not. The thing about Manlius is that he means it. The room knows he means it. Annius knows he means it. There is a kind of man whose threats are weather, loud and gone by morning. And there is another kind whose threats are stone. The second kind is rarer. Manlius is the second kind. Everyone in the room has just understood which kind he is. So the demand dies, not because it was answered. It was never answered. It died because the man who could end it would rather kill than concede. And the room believed him. A question you cannot ask without dying is a question that has, for all practical purposes, an answer. The answer is no. The answer was always going to be no. But now it is a no with a sword behind it. And once a no has a sword behind it, the only reply left is another sword. Annius understood this when he climbed the steps. He understood it before. The towns understood it when they chose him. They did not send Annius to win the argument. You do not send a man to win an argument you know cannot be won. They sent him to lose it in public, in the room in front of the men who own Rome, so that everyone on both sides would know exactly what kind of no they were dealing with. Now they know. There is a story about how Annius left the room. We will tell it the way Rome told it and let you decide. Rome said that Annius came down from the Capitoline, that he passed out of the temple precinct, that there on the steps he stumbled, that he fell and struck his head on the stone at the bottom, that he lay there stunned, or dead, or near it. And Rome said this was Jupiter, that the god of the hill had heard a man demand to share Rome, that the god had reached down and struck him for it. We do not know if Annius fell. Men fall on steps. The steps are worn smooth in the middle, as we said, by 300 years of feet. A man coming down them with his blood up might well miss his footing. He had just been told he will be murdered if his town gets what it has paid for. What we know is what happened next, and that did not need a god. The talks were over. The towns had their answer. The answer had a sword behind it. And so the Latin towns did the only thing the answer left them to do. They reached for swords of their own. The frost is long off the boundary stones now. It is spring. Somewhere south of Rome, a farmer who cannot vote is in his field. He does not know it yet, but the men in the room have just decided he will march, not against the old enemies, against the men on the other side of the river, the men who carry the same shield, the men who learned the same step. The war begins because a question was asked out loud, and the answer was a sword, and no one in the room could think of anything that was not a sword. That is how the old peace ended. Not with a battle, with a sentence said too close to the center of the room. 3. The order no one could break. The Senate voted for war in the spring. It did not take long. Once a question has a sword behind it, the vote is a formality. The men who own Rome had already decided. The vote only wrote it down. But this war was not like the others. The men who voted knew it. The knowledge sat in the room like a smell no one would name. The enemy was not a stranger. The enemy was the man who had stood on your left in the last war. Consider the problem from Rome's side. It is a strange one. For every enemy Rome had fought before, there was a difference you could see. The Gauls were taller and fought naked and screamed. The Etruscans fought in a way that was old and stiff and known. The Samnites came down out of the hills and fought loose. In the broken ground they understood and Rome did not. You could tell those enemies from your own men at a glance. The shape of them, the sound of them, the way they moved. The Latins were different. The Latins fought like Rome. They carried the same shield, the long oval that covered a man from shoulder to shin. They threw the same heavy spear, the one waited to bend on impact so it could not be thrown back. They formed the same lines. They answered the same trumpet calls. For 300 years they had marched to the same trumpet, in the same army, against the same enemies. In every war before, Rome and the Latins had been one machine. Now the machine was going to be turned against itself. And every part of it knew how every other part worked. That was the thing that made this war dangerous in a way the old wars were not. You cannot trick a man who was taught by the same teacher. You cannot surprise a man who knows your signals. When the two armies met, it would not be Rome against a foreign thing. It would be Rome against its own reflection. And a reflection does everything you do at the same moment just as well. The two consuls that year were Titus Manlius Torquatus and Publius Decius Mus. Manlius we know, the man with the collar, the man who told a Latin in the Senate he would kill him on the floor, before he saw him in the consul's chair. He is older now than the boy who took the collar and harder. He has spent a lifetime learning that an order kept is worth more than an order that is wise. Decius Mus is the other kind of man. He came up from nothing or near it. A new man, the Romans called it. No consul in his family before him. He earned his place in the field in a war in the hills. He once saved an entire army by leading a few men to seize a height and hold it. The rest got clear behind him. He is brave the way men are brave who have had to be, because no name protected them. Two consuls. One who keeps orders. One who gives himself. The season will use both of them in the two ways it knows how to use a man. It will make one of them kill what he loves. It will make the other die. Neither of them knows yet which. The army gathered. Here Rome did a thing it had always done and would always do. A thing so ordinary that no one wrote it down as remarkable. Which is exactly why it was the most remarkable thing about Rome. Counted. It counted the men of the legions. It counted the men the allies owed. It counted the spears, the shields, the days of grain. It wrote the numbers down and checked them, and a magistrate signed for them. Rome made war the way a careful house makes a winter. Slowly, with lists, knowing exactly what it had before it spent any of it. The farmer was on one of the lists. He had been called, as he always knew he would be. He left his field with the seed not yet fully up, which is the worst time to leave a field. And he went where the list told him to go because that is what the list was for. He did not march against the Samnites this time. He marched south with Rome, toward the towns of men who spoke as he spoke and prayed as he prayed. toward men who, in another year, might have been on his left in the line, teaching him how to hold the weight on the bone. The army moved south in the early summer. The march is its own world. The world of the march is feet and dust and the weight on your shoulders. And the man in front of you whose pace you match without thinking. 20 miles in a day. Then you stop and you do not rest because first you build the camp. There was a quiet in this march that the farmer did not remember from the others. On the way to fight the Samnites, men sang. They told the old jokes, the filthy ones, the ones every army has carried since armies began. They complained about the food and the officers and the heat, which is how soldiers say they are alive. This march was different. The songs were thinner. The jokes did not land. Because the men knew where they were going and against whom. And there is no good joke about marching to kill the men who taught you to march. The farmer walked in the quiet and understood it without anyone explaining it. They were going to fight themselves. A man does not sing on the way to that. Rome built a camp every night. A ditch. A wall of earth thrown up from the ditch. A palisade of stakes each man carried on his own back, all day, in the heat, so that at night there would be a wall. Same shape every night. Same gates. A man could walk into any Roman camp, anywhere, in the dark and find his way, because they were all the same camp, built fresh each evening and abandoned each dawn. The Latins built the same camp. Of course they did. They had learned it from Rome. So the two armies moved south through the same country, building the same camp each night, a day apart. Two machines that were the same machine, walking toward the place where they would finally have to look at each other. On the third or fourth night, Manlius called the army together. This is the moment the whole season turns on, though no one standing in that camp could have known it. A man giving an order, just that. Manlius stood where the army could see him. He did not say much. He never said much. He told them the thing every man already half knew. That the enemy fought as they fought, knew what they knew, answered the same calls. And then he gave the order. No man, he said, was to engage the enemy outside the line. No man was to leave his place to fight. Not for honor, not for plunder, not for a challenge. Not for any reason a man could invent. The enemy fought as Rome fought. A man who broke ranks to chase a single fight would open a gap. And the enemy, fighting as Rome fought, would know exactly how to use it. One man's glory could unmake the line. The punishment for breaking the order was death. He said it plainly. He did not raise his voice. He had learned in the Senate that a fact stated quietly is believed, and a threat shouted is doubted. He wanted this believed, death, for leaving the line, whoever did it, whoever he was. His son was in the camp that night listening. The young man was a cavalry officer. He was the kind of young man the order was written for, though Manlius did not say so, and perhaps did not let himself think it. He was brave and young, and hungry for the thing young men are hungry for, which is a name of their own. He had a famous father. A famous father is a weight as much as a gift. A boy with a name like that does not want to inherit it. He wants to earn one beside it. He heard the order. He understood the order. He believed the way young men believe that orders are for other men. Not from arrogance exactly, from the simple inability of the young to imagine a thing. That the rule which binds everyone could ever close its hand on them. He stood in the lamplight with the other officers and heard his father say that the punishment was death. He did not feel the cold finger on his neck that an older man would have felt. He felt only that the camp was tense, and the war was near, and somewhere out there in the dark were men he would soon get to fight. He wanted to fight them. He had wanted to fight someone his whole life. That is the thing about a boy with a famous father. The wanting starts early and never quite goes quiet. Manlius did not know yet who would break the order. He had built it to bind everyone, which is the only way an order is worth anything. And binding everyone means binding the ones you love along with the ones you do not. He knew this in the abstract. Every commander knows it in the abstract. He had not yet had to know it in the particular. In the body, in the face of a single boy carrying a single trophy. When he found out the order would not bend. He had built it that way on purpose. An order that bends for the right person is not an order. It is a suggestion with a punishment attached. And everyone learns very fast which people it bends for. After that it binds no one. He did not know it would be his son. If a god had told him that night, perhaps he would have unsaid the order. We do not know. He was not a man who unsaid things. But no man has been tested by that particular test. Not until the morning he is tested by it. The order was given. It hung over the camp. Most of the men forgot it by morning, the way men forget the rules they do not plan to break. One of them did not forget it. He simply could not believe it applied to him. That is how the trap was set. Not by the enemy, by a father who built a perfect order, and a son who could not imagine he was inside it. The camp slept. The summer dark was warm and full of the small sounds of an army at rest. Out beyond the wall of stakes, a day's march away, the other camp slept the same sleep, behind the same wall, dreaming, if armies dream, the same dream. Two reflections, one trap, and in the morning the country between them, waiting to be crossed. 4. A boy and a challenge. The morning is hot already. The young Manlius rides out with a patrol, a handful of horsemen. Their job is to watch, not to fight, to see where the enemy is and come back and say so. That is all. He knows that is all. His father said it last night, and his father says everything once, and means it the way stone means it. But the morning is hot, and he is young, and the watching is dull. The dust comes up off the horses. It sits in the back of the throat. It does not wash out with water. A man tastes it for days. He rides at the front because his name puts him there. That is the thing about the name. Puts you at the front of the small things. The patrols, the dull rides. Long before you have done anything to deserve the front of the large ones. He has carried the name his whole life. He has not yet carried anything of his own. There is a difference between the two weights. Only the man carrying them can feel it. And it presses on him on a hot, dull morning. The way it presses on every son of a famous father since fathers were famous. He wants something to happen. He does not say this even to himself. But it is there, low and constant, the way hunger is there. He wants the morning to hand him something he can carry home that is his. The morning is about to. They see the other patrol across a stretch of open ground. Latin cavalry. The same number, near enough. The same kind of men on the same kind of horses. For a moment the two patrols simply look at each other across the gap. The way two dogs look before either one decides. No one moves. This is the order working. Both sides have the same order, probably. Watch. Do not fight. Go home and report. For a long moment it holds. The horses shift and blow. A fly lands on the boy's wrist and he does not brush it off. Brushing it off feels like the kind of small motion that might start something. The two patrols watch each other the way men watch each other when both sides know one thing. The first to move decides what kind of morning this becomes. The boy can feel his own pulse in his ears. He is not afraid, or he tells himself he is not. He is something else, something with no good name. The feeling a young man gets when a door he has wanted his whole life swings open a crack. And the only question left is whether he will walk through it. Then one of the Latin riders comes forward. Alone. He stops in the middle of the open ground, where both sides can see him, and he takes off his helmet so his face shows. The young Manlius knows the face. Everyone knows the face. It is Geminus Metius, a Latin, a noble, a name. A man who has won single fights the way other men win arguments. He is older than the boy. He has done this before. The boy has heard of him. Of course he has. In the camps men trade names the way they trade dice, and Metius is a name that comes up. The man who unhorsed 2 challengers in one campaign. The man who fights for the watching of it. Winning has stopped being enough for him. Only winning where others can see still feeds him. The boy has heard all this. He never thought to be the one standing across the open ground from it. Now he is. Metius speaks across the gap. He does not shout. He lets the quiet carry it. He says he knows whose son this is. He says he can see the name on the boy from here. And then he says the thing he came to say. Your father gives orders. Are you a man under them, or a man? 12 words, maybe fewer. They go into the boy like a thrown spear. The boy knows the order. He heard it last night in the lamplight. Death for leaving the line. He knows it the way you know a wall is there in the dark. But the words are already inside him. They have found the place every young man keeps soft. The place that is afraid of being nothing. And they press on it. He thinks about his father. He thinks about the name he carries and did not earn. He thinks, here is a name standing in front of me, offering itself. He does not think for long. That is the whole tragedy of it. A man who thought for 10 breaths would have turned his horse. The boy thinks for 2. Before he goes, there is a moment no one else can see. It lives entirely inside him and lasts no time at all. In it, he knows. He knows the order. He knows the punishment. He knows his father said it last night and meant it the way stone means it. The knowing is right there, complete, available. And he sets it down. Not forgets it. Sets it down the way you set down a thing you have decided not to carry. He chooses the other thing. He chooses the name. He will not be able to explain this later, because there will be no later in which he is asked. But it is the truest moment of his short life. The moment he chooses. And he makes it the way the young make every choice that ruins them. Fast and sure and certain it will turn out well. He goes. He kicks the horse and lowers the spear, and the world narrows to the man in front of him. This is what no one tells you about a fight. How small it gets. The army is gone. The order is gone. His father is gone. There is the horse under him and the dust and the one man. Metius comes too. They close fast. Faster than thought. The first pass is nothing. Spears glance. Horses wheel. The boy has done this in training 1,000 times, and his body does it now without him. Turn. Set. Come again. There is a sound to it that training does not have. The training field is dry thuds and a man calling corrections. This is wet breathing and the creak of leather and the suck of hooves in churned ground. And under all of it, a high thin note in his own ears. He has never heard it before. He will hear it for the rest of his life, whenever he is afraid. The second pass, Metius's spear takes the boy's shield and slides off. He feels it go past his ribs, close enough to feel the wind of it. His own point finds nothing. They will again. The horses are blowing. The dust is in everything. The boy is not thinking about glory now. The boy is thinking about staying alive, which is the only thing a man thinks about once it is real. The thing that started as honor is just survival now. It always is in the end. The third pass ends it. The boy does a thing he did not plan. The body plans it. He drops the point lower than a man expects, under the shield, where the horse's neck and the rider's thigh come together. There is no good way to guard it. Metius turns to take it on the shield and turns a half beat slow. Just a half beat. That is all a fight is. Half beats. The point goes in. Not clean. Nothing is clean. Catches and drags. The man comes off the horse with it. the way a fish comes off a line. All weight and no grace. He hits the ground. The dust closes over him. The boy is past him before he can stop, hauling the horse around. When he comes back, Decius is trying to get up and cannot. The second blow does what the first did not. It is quiet very fast. That is the part. The screaming you expect does not come. The man just stops. Famous man. A man with a name that filled a country. And at the end he makes the same small sound any man makes. None at all. The boy will think about this later if there were a later. How a great name and a small one weigh exactly the same in the dust. How the dust does not know the difference and does not care to learn. The other riders, both sides, have not moved. They watched. Now it is done. The boy gets down. His hands are shaking and he does not know it. He takes the dead man's armor, the way it is done, the way it has always been done. The spoils. Proof. The thing you carry back. The Latin riders turn their horses and go. They do not fight for the body. The challenge was Decius's alone, and Decius lost. There is nothing in their order that says die for a man who broke off on his own. The young Manlius stands over the armor he has taken. The dust is settling now. The horses are calming. The hot morning is exactly as hot as it was an hour ago. Before any of this. When the worst thing in the world was that the watching was dull. Here is the quiet after. He feels first only the body, the shake in the hands, the burn in the arm where he held the spear, the dust packed dry in his throat, the heart that will not slow. Then under that slow, a thing rising that he mistakes for joy. He thinks he has done it. He thinks he has the thing he wanted his whole life. The name beside the name, earned with his own hand, against a man who was famous for exactly this. He thinks of carrying the armor into the camp. He thinks of his father's face. He thinks his father will be proud. That is the thing. He thinks his father will be proud. He gathers the armor and ties it across the horse. He turns toward the camp, the dead man's gear bright in the sun. And inside him there is a boy walking home to be praised. He is wrong about all of it. He does not know that yet. He has the whole ride back to not know it. Some of the best moments a man gets are the ones right before he learns the truth. This is one of them. The cruelty is that it feels exactly like the moments that are real. He rides toward the camp. The armor catches the light. The patrol falls in behind him, quiet, the way men go quiet around a thing they cannot fix. They have understood already. He has not. He is the only one on that road still inside the good morning. And he stays there all the way to his father's tent. 5. The dream both consuls had. The two armies are close now. Close enough that the camps can hear each other at night. A horse on the other side. A voice carrying across the dark. Sounds that mean nothing and mean everything, because the men making them will be trying to kill you by noon. It is the night before the battle. No one has named it the night before the battle, but every man in both camps knows. You can feel it in the way the fires are tended, carefully, as if the fire mattered more than usual. In the lines, men do the small things men do on such a night. A man sharpens a blade that is already sharp, because the hands need something. A man eats more than he wants or cannot eat at all. A man who has not prayed in years finds the words coming back. In the dark, unbidden, in the voice of a mother long dead. Letters get written or would be if more of them could write. Mostly they sit and they are quiet. They listen to the other camp being quiet across the dark. And each man does the private arithmetic that no one ever speaks aloud. How many battles have I lived through? How many can a man expect? Is tomorrow the one? No one answers the arithmetic. There is no answer. There is only the morning coming whether they sleep or not. Tomorrow is by the mountain. Vesuvius standing dark against the dark. the river called Decius running cold at the foot of it. Tomorrow the country between the camps will be crossed, and one of these armies will not build a camp tomorrow night. In the consul's tents the lamps are still lit. Manlius is in one. He has heard, by now, what his son did this morning. We will leave that tent closed for one more chapter. There is a thing happening in it that needs its own room, and this is not that room. This room is the other one. The night and the dream and the two men who share command of an army. Men who have just been told the same impossible thing. Decius is in his tent. He cannot sleep. A commander rarely sleeps the night before. He has walked the lines once already the way he does, learning the faces of the men who will stand near him, so that tomorrow they are not strangers. He came back. He lay down. He did not sleep. And in the not sleeping, something came to him. We must be careful here. The sources say both consuls had the same vision that night, the same figure, the same words, a thing told to two men in two tents who did not speak to each other until morning, and found in the morning that they had been told the same thing. We do not know if this happened. Two men do not dream the same dream. That is not how dreams work. What is far more likely is this. One of them dreamed or thought or feared and told the other, and the telling became, over the years, a thing they both saw. Rome remembered it as a vision shared. We will tell it the way Rome remembered it, and you will hold in your mind that this is how Rome remembered it, which is not the same as how it was. Because here is the thing. Even if no God spoke, the choice the two men made was real. The choice does not need the God. Men have walked toward their deaths on far less than a vision, on nothing at all but a sense that it was theirs to do. Strip the dream away and the bare fact remains. Two men decided on this night that one of them would die tomorrow to win the battle. That part is not a legend. That part is the most certain thing in the whole story. The figure in the vision was tall. That is how it is always told. A tall figure, more than a man, standing at the foot of the cot in the dark. And it said a thing that is simple to say and very hard to hold. It said that the general of one side and the army of the other belonged to the gods below. To the earth, the mother. To the dead, the dim ones, the ones who are owed. It said that the side which gave up its general, and gave up the enemy army with him, would win. The other side would lose. One side must lose its general. The other side will lose its whole army. And the side that loses its general is the side that wins. It is a trade, the oldest kind, a life for a victory, not a metaphor, a literal man, a literal death paid across to the literal gods, in exchange for the literal outcome of a literal battle the next day. The Romans had a word for this. Devotio, the giving. A general could give himself formally with the proper words said in the proper order. He gave himself to the gods below and to the enemy together. He would ride into the enemy and die, and his death would carry the enemy down with him. It was the heaviest thing a Roman could do. It was so heavy that most generals went their whole lives never seeing it done. These two were about to see it. One of them was about to do it. Here is the political weight said plainly because it matters. A general is not a private man. A general is the will of Rome with a face on it. When a general gives himself, he is not throwing away a life. He is spending the most expensive thing the state owns, in the most expensive way it can be spent. And the state has to agree that it was worth it. So the devotio is not only a sacrifice. It is a statement. It says, Rome will pay anything. It says, there is no price that Rome will not put on the table for a victory. Not even the life of a man at the very top. An enemy who learns that a people will do this does not sleep well. How do you beat a people who will trade their best men, formally with ceremony, for a single afternoon's win? You do not. You learn to be afraid of them. that fear is worth more than the battle. The battle is one day. The fear is a generation. Rome did not invent the devotio to win battles. Rome won the battle anyway, probably by other means. Rome kept the devotio because of what it told everyone watching about what Rome was willing to become. The two men meet at first light, before the trumpets. They are not young men, either of them. They have known each other a long time, the way men know each other who have shared the worst rooms. They do not waste words. They have a vision to compare and an army to lead and very little time. Each tells the other what he saw. The accounts match. Whatever the truth of it, they match now, here in the gray before dawn, and that is enough. The thing is real to both of them. The trade is on the table. So they do the only sane thing two sane men can do with an insane gift. They make it a procedure. They agree. Whichever wing breaks first, the consul commanding that wing performs the devotio. Not by feeling. Not by who is braver or who wants it. By the battle. The battle will choose. Whichever part of the line bends, the man in charge of that part gives himself. The giving holds the line. The line wins. Manlius has the right. Decius has the left. They do not know yet which wing will break. That is the whole terrible elegance of it. They have agreed to let the fighting decide which of them dies. Now they have to go and fight, knowing that somewhere in the next few hours the answer will arrive, written in the place where their own line first gives ground. They clasp hands, or they do not, and Rome added the clasp later. Either way they part. Each goes to his wing. Each of them rides out under a sky going from gray to white, each knowing that one of them is riding to his death, neither knowing which. The not knowing will last exactly as long as the line holds, and not one moment longer. Behind them the army forms. The farmer is in it. He does not know about the dream. The dream belongs to the men at the top. What reaches the men in the line is only a feeling, passed mouth to mouth without words, that something has been decided in the night, that the commanders walked the camp this morning with a particular stillness, that the day has a weight on it heavier than the ordinary weight of a day you might die on. He stands in the line and tastes the dust that is already rising and waits for the trumpet. He thinks about his field, which is the thing men in lines think about, the seed that went in late, whether the rain came while he was gone, whether the rain knows or cares that he is here, 20 miles south, about to fight the men he might have farmed beside. The mountain stands over all of it. Vesuvius. It does not care either. It has watched men do this in the plain at its foot for a long time, longer than men have had a word for the plain. It will watch them do it again, much worse, 300 years from now, when it stops watching and starts speaking, and buries a whole city in an afternoon. But that is another season. Tonight it only stands there, dark, indifferent, enormous, while two armies that are the same army wait for the light to be enough to kill by. The trumpets sound. The day the dream was about begins. 6. The left wing gives. The two lines come together in the middle of the morning. There is a thing that happens just before, a few hundred paces of open ground, both lines moving across it at a walk, because you do not run. You save the running. You walk into it so you arrive with breath still in you. The farmer walks it. He has walked it before. It does not get easier. The ground between two armies is the longest ground in the world. Every step is a step you could still turn from, and no one turns. That is the strange and terrible thing about men in a line. They keep walking into it, all of them, together, because the man beside you keeps walking, and you cannot be the one who stops. And there is the other thing, the thing that makes this morning worse than the other mornings. He can see their faces. Across the closing ground, the enemy is not a wall of strange shields and stranger helmets. The enemy looks like him, the same kit, the same way of standing. A man over there is scratching under his helmet strap, the exact way the man beside the farmer scratches under his. A man over there has the same look the farmer knows he himself has. The hell-breath look. The look of a man walking toward a thing he would give anything not to walk toward. For 300 years these men marched on the same side of this ground. The farmer looks across at his mirror and his mirror looks back. And then the lines are too close for looking. There is no more time to think about whose face it was. Then the lines touch and the world becomes very small. A battle is not a battle to the man in it. A battle is the 3 feet around you, the shield against your left arm, the man on your right who you have to keep alive so he keeps you alive, the point that comes over the rim looking for your face. There is no plan in here. The plan was made last night by men who are not here now in tents. In here there is only the push. The whole front shoves forward, and the enemy shoves back. For a while nothing moves. The dust comes up. You cannot see past the man in front of you, and you would not look if you could. The noise is not a roar. He had forgotten that, between wars, the way you forget it every time. It is small sounds close together. The grunt of a man putting his weight into the shield. The scrape. The wet sound that means someone near you is finished. The breath that stops in the middle of a word. There is a smell too. There is always a smell, and no one warns you, and it is the thing the body remembers longest. Iron and opened men, and the particular reek of fear coming off bodies packed too close. He smells it and his hands know it before his mind does. His hands have smelled this before. They do what they did last time. They hold the weight on the bone. They wait. Time does a strange thing in here. It is not fast and it is not slow. It is gone. There is no before and no after. Only the push. Only the next breath. Only the small distance you can affect with your own arm. A man could fight in here for an hour or for 10 breaths. He could not tell you which. The farmer has stopped counting. He always counts going in. He has lost the count. That is how he knows it is real. The thing about fighting your mirror is that it is even. 2 lines, the same depth, the same weapons, the same training, the same calls. When Rome fought the Gauls, Rome's discipline beat their fury, and the line told. When Rome fought the loose Samnite ranks, Rome's solid front told. There was always a difference Rome could lean its weight against. Here there is no difference to lean on. Push meets equal push. Skill meets equal skill. The shove in the center goes nowhere. Both sides shove exactly as hard and exactly as well. They know exactly the same tricks for shoving. So the battle does not break in the center. A battle between mirrors never breaks in the center. It breaks at an edge. It breaks wherever one mirror cracks first. By accident. By a patch of bad ground or a tired cohort or a man who fell at the wrong moment. This morning the crack is on the left. The left is Decius. The men there are no worse than the men anywhere else. That is what no one understands about the place a line breaks. It is not the fault of the men who break. It is the place the pressure happened to find first. A line is only as whole as its most tired 100 men. On the left, this morning, the most tired 100 men are. It starts so small that no one inside it knows it has started. The front rank, where the farmer is not but where men exactly like him are, gives half a step. Not in flight. No one runs. They simply cannot hold the exact line they held a moment ago. So they hold a line half a step back. And then half a step more. No man chooses it. The whole rank does it together the way water finds a slightly lower place without any single drop deciding to. The farmer feels it as a wrongness before he understands it as a retreat. Something in the rhythm of the push has changed. The give and take of it, the even contest of weight against weight, has tilted. And the tilt is toward him, toward his side, toward backward. He has felt this before in another war on another field. The feeling is the worst one a man in a line can have. Worse than the fear of a blade. A blade is a thing you might dodge. This is a thing you cannot. This is the line itself failing. The thing you are standing inside is failing. There is nothing your own arm can do about a thing that big. He pushes anyway. Every man pushes anyway. It does not matter. The half steps keep coming. Half a step does not sound like losing. Half a step is losing. Because the rank behind has to give half a step too or be trampled. And the rank behind that. And now the whole left wing is a thing leaning backward, a few inches at a time. The Latins on the other side feel it the way you feel a door start to give. They lean harder. They have the same instinct Romans have. You feel the give, you spend everything into it. Because a line going backward is a line about to become men running. And men running are men you kill from behind for free. The farmer is in the second or third rank where it is worst. You can feel the line failing and you cannot see why. You can do nothing but be carried back with it. He is pushing forward into the back of the man in front of him with everything he has. And the man in front of him is going backward anyway. There is no enemy he can reach. Only his own side pressing into him from behind. And the slow sick slide of the whole wing losing its ground. He has been in lines that held. He knows the feel of a line that holds. This is not it. This is the other feel, the one men do not talk about after. The feel of a thing coming apart under you while you do everything right. And it comes apart anyway. On the rise behind the left, Decius sees it. He does not need a report. A commander who has fought knows the shape of his own line. He knows it the way you know the set of a familiar face. He can see from here that the left has the wrong shape. It is bowing. The proud straight line of the morning is curving backward at his end, like a green branch under a weight. And he knows what comes after the bow, the break, and after the break, the rout, and after the rout, the killing and the battle lost, and the road to Rome open behind a beaten army. He remembers the dream. He remembers the agreement made in the gray before dawn. Whichever wing breaks first. It is his wing. It was always going to be one of them. The battle has chosen the way they agreed to let it choose, and it has chosen him. There is a moment where Decius simply looks at it. The bowing line, the dust, his men doing everything right and losing anyway. The mountain behind it all, dark and enormous and indifferent. He looks at the thing the morning has handed him, and he understands that it is true, that it is his, that there is no version of the next hour, no version in which he does not do what he is about to do. He is not afraid. Or he is, and it does not matter, which from the outside looks exactly like not being afraid. He thinks for one moment of small things. Not Rome, not glory, not the gods. A man at the edge of his own death does not think the large thoughts. He thinks of a doorway, a face, the particular slant of light in a room he will not see again. Decius does not tell anyone what he thinks of. No one ever does. It goes with them, whatever it is, into the dust. Then the moment is gone and the small things with it. There is only the thing that has to be done. He turns his horse and goes to find the priest. Behind him the left wing bows another inch. The farmer feels it. He does not know that on the rise behind him a man has just decided to die, so that he, the farmer, can stop sliding backward and stand. He only feels the slide. He does not yet feel it stop. It is about to stop. The reason it is about to stop is riding, right now, toward a priest, to say the words that will turn one man's death into the whole army's footing. 7. What Decius bought. The priest is an old man. He is a pontifex, one of the keepers of the proper ways. He has come with the army the way the army always brings its keepers. Rome does not fight without its gods present. He has spent his life learning words that are almost never used. Today one of them is used. Decius finds him behind the line, where the wounded are starting to come back. The noise of the battle is a wall of sound a little way off. The old man knows why Decius has come before Decius says it. He has seen the left bowing. He knows the dream. He has perhaps been waiting in the cold way the old wait, waiting to find out which of them it would be. It is this one, the new man, the one with no consul in his family before him, the one who climbed out of nothing and is about to climb back into it. The right has a shape, and the shape must be exact. This is the thing about the devotio that the stories flatten. It is not a man working himself up to a brave death. It is a procedure. There is a way to stand, a way to dress, words in an order. If the order is wrong, the right does not hold. The giving is wasted, and the man dies for nothing. So the old priest tells Decius what to do, step by step. And Decius does each step exactly, the way a careful man does the last careful thing of his life. He covers his head, the toga pulled up over the crown, the way you stand before the gods, the way you stand at a funeral, which this is. He stands on a spear laid on the ground beneath his feet. He puts his hand to his chin under the cloth, and he says the words the priest gives him, phrase by phrase, repeating each one back. We will not give you the words in full. They were sacred, and the full form is half lost, and a script is not a temple. But we can tell you what they did. They named him. They gave his name and his office to the gods below, to the dim ones, to the earth that takes everyone back. And then they did the second thing, the heavy thing. They gave the enemy too, the legions of the Latins, the men across the field, named and handed down into the dark, along with the man saying the words. One man giving himself and 20,000 others in a sentence. A people that can do this is a different kind of dangerous, not braver. Brave is common. Every people has brave men. What Rome has is a form for it, procedure, a way to take the bravest, most terrible thing a man can do and make it official, repeatable, witnessed, written into the law of how Rome fights. Rome has taken the act of a single desperate man and turned it into an institution. An enemy can beat brave men. Brave men die and the war goes on. But how do you beat a people that has built a machine for turning its leaders into weapons? That has a priest standing by, a form ready, words kept for the purpose. So that when a wing breaks, the breaking itself becomes the trigger for something worse? You do not beat that. You learn to dread it. And Rome, across the next centuries, will be dreaded for exactly this. Not because Romans were braver than other men, because Rome had made a religion out of paying any price. And an enemy could never be sure how high the price would go. The words end. Decius takes the toga down from his head. He is, for one moment, just a man again. A man who has just spoken his own death out loud and made it binding. He looks at the old priest. The priest looks back. There is nothing to say, and they do not say it. The old man has done this once in his life and will never do it again. Decius has done it once and will not live to do anything again. The two of them share, for a breath, a particular quiet. The quiet of men who have just finished a thing that cannot be unfinished. Then Decius turns toward his horse. He does not make a speech. The stories sometimes give him one. We will not. A man who has just given himself to the gods does not need to explain himself to anyone. And the noise of the battle would eat the words anyway. He goes to the horse the way you go to a door you have decided to walk through. Steadily, without looking back at the room. He mounts. He takes up no shield worth the name. A shield is for a man who means to come back. He takes a spear or a sword. The sources differ, and it does not matter. The weapon is not the point. The man is the weapon now. The right made him one. He turns the horse toward the place where the line is worst, toward his own bowing left, toward the Latins pressing into it, and he rides into them. There is no formation to this, no tactics, a single man on a horse riding into an army. It looks different from the inside than from the outside. Both are true. From the inside, for Decius, the world has gone strange and clear. The fear is gone or changed into something that is not fear. The way the boy's honor changed into survival the day before. Except this is the opposite change. Survival burned away into something with no name. He is not trying to live. That is the whole difference. Every other man on that field is, underneath everything, trying to live. He is the one man who is not. It makes him impossible to fight. Fighting assumes a man who wants to live. The Latins in front of him are looking at something their training never prepared them for. From the outside to the Latins, here is a Roman officer riding alone into the heart of them. Head bare now, face open, coming on at a dead run. No support and no sense and no fear. They do what men do. They throw everything at him. Spears. The thing comes apart fast. He does not stop. That is the only thing the sources all agree on. Whatever hit him, however many times, he did not stop until he could not go forward. He rode into them and they closed over him the way water closes over a stone. The place where he had been was, for a moment, just churning men and dust. And then it was not even that. It was the battle going on with one fewer man in it. His death is not described, and we will not describe it. The men who were close enough to see it were Latins, and they did not write. The Romans who wrote were not close enough. There is only the result. He went in. He did not come out. The dust closed. That is all anyone can honestly say happened to the body. What happened to the battle is a different question. It has a clearer answer. And that answer is the thing this whole season turns on. The left wing saw it. Not all of it. No one on the field saw all of anything. But the men nearest saw it. The men in the bowing line who were sliding backward and dying. They saw a thing they could not explain. Their commander, the man on the rise behind them, riding past them and into the enemy. Alone. Bareheaded. Not to lead them forward. To go into the enemy and not come back. The farmer saw it or saw enough. A horse going the wrong way. A man going where no man goes on purpose. He did not know the word devotio. He did not know about the dream or the priest or the words said with a covered head. He only knew that the consul had just done something that men do not do, and that the something was for them. And a thing happened in the line that no order could have made happen. The sliding stopped. It is hard to say why, and we should be honest that it is hard. Men who study war have argued about it for 2,000 years. Perhaps the sight of it shamed them, and shame is a kind of strength. Perhaps it frightened them in a way that turned outward instead of in. Perhaps it simply broke the spell of the slide. The awful momentum of a line going backward. And any break in that spell is enough to let men plant their feet again. Whatever it was, the feet planted. The half-step stopped. The bow in the line stopped deepening, and held, and then slowly began to straighten. The farmer feels it before he understands it. The pressure at his back, the slow sick slide, stops. The man in front of him is no longer going backward. The man is holding. And because that man holds, the farmer can hold. And because the farmer holds, the man behind him can. It runs back through the ranks the way the giving ran, but in reverse. Foot by foot. A line remembering how to be a line. He does not cheer. No one cheers. There is no breath to cheer with and nothing yet to cheer about. There is only the fact, felt in the body before the mind. The ground under him has stopped moving the wrong way. He is standing where he stands. He is not, this moment, being pushed toward his own death. It is the most a soldier ever gets in the middle of a battle. Not victory, just the slide stopping, just standing for now in the place where you stand. And then, slowly, the impossible luxury of a step forward. On the other side, the Latins feel the change too. A line that was about to break. A line they had everything invested in breaking, that they could taste breaking. It has instead set its feet and started to come back at them. There is nothing more disheartening in war than that. You have spent yourself on the edge of winning, and the winning has been taken back. Now you must find the strength to do it all again. And the strength is not there. You spent it on the first push. The Latin left, which had been the Latins' winning side, begins its own slow slide. The thing reverses, mirror against mirror, and now it is the other mirror cracking. It is not quick. Battles are not quick. But the moment the left held was the moment the day turned. Everyone who lived through it knew it, even the ones who could not have told you why. Now we must be careful the way the whole season tries to be careful. What happened as fact is this. A line was breaking. Commander rode into the enemy and died. The line stopped breaking. The line recovered. The battle was won. What Rome remembered is this. A god told two consuls one would die. The consul gave himself with the proper words. The gods accepted the trade. The gods broke the enemy in payment. Rome won because Rome paid, and the gods, being honest gods, paid back. These are not the same story. They use the same events. They mean different things. We cannot prove the gods did anything. We can prove the line held after Decius rode in. We cannot prove the one caused the other. Men hold lines for many reasons. Shame and fear and the strange courage of witnessing are reasons enough. No god required. But Rome recorded the two as one. Rome wrote it down so that the death and the victory were a single sentence. Cause and effect. Payment and return. And here is the thing that matters more than whether it was true. Rome believed it. A people that believes its leaders can buy victory with their lives, and that the gods will honor the purchase. That is a people that will keep producing leaders willing to make the purchase. The belief makes the next devotio possible. The next one makes the belief stronger, feeds itself. Whether or not a god was ever on the other end of the trade kept being offered, and it kept seeming to work. A man who rides into an enemy meaning to die usually does break something. If only the nerve of the men who have to watch him do it. So the question of whether it worked is, in the end, the wrong question. It worked the way belief works, which is to say, it worked because everyone agreed it had. The battle ends in the afternoon. The Latins break fully the way the Romans nearly did. The field tilts. The killing that comes after a break is the worst killing. We will not walk through it. The farmer did not walk through all of it either. He stood in the line that held and then advanced. At some point, the men in front of him stopped being a wall and became a rout. After that, it was not a battle anymore. It was the other thing, the thing no one tells you about. He did that thing too. Most of them did. We will leave it there. When it is over, the field is what fields are after. The sound goes out of it slowly, not all at once. First the clash stops. Then the shouting. Then there is only the low sound. The sound that is always the last to go. The sound of men who are hurt and not yet dead. Carries a long way in the failing light. It does not have words. It is the truest thing said on any battlefield. No one can stand to listen to it. And everyone has to. Somewhere out in the churned ground is what is left of a consul. A man who rode in this morning meaning not to come back. They will look for him after. They will find him or what the battle left to find. Rome will bury him the way Rome buries the men it has spent on purpose. With honor. With the particular grief that is also pride. The grief Rome had a genius for. The grief that says, He did the most expensive thing, and we are grateful, and we would ask it again. The farmer is alive. He is standing in a field full of men who are not. He is looking at the place far out where they say the consul went in. He cannot see it. There is nothing to see. There is only the dust, settling now, in the long light, comes down over everyone, the standing and the fallen, the Romans and the men who an hour ago were the same as Romans, all of them going gray together under the same falling dust. He thinks the way men think after, with no order to the thought. The consul died so I could stand. He does not know if it is true. He will never know. He will tell it, though, for the rest of his life the way Rome told it. Because it is the kind of thing a man needs to be true. That his standing was bought. That it cost something. That the cost was paid by a better man than him freely for him. Whether the gods took the trade, the farmer cannot say. He took it. That much he knows. He is standing. The price has been paid. He is standing. The dust comes down on all of it. The field goes quiet. 8. The father's sentence. The boy comes to the tent in the evening. He is still dirty from the day. The dust and the dried sweat and a little blood that is not his. He has the dead man's armor across his shoulders. The spoils, bright where the day's grime has not touched it. He has waited all afternoon for this. The battle delayed it. Now the battle is over and won. He can finally do the thing he has been wanting to do since the dust settled on Decius. He can show his father. He does not know that the camp has gone quiet around him as he walks. He does not read it. He is too full of the day. The men he passes look at him and look away. He takes the looking for envy, because that is what a young man takes everything for. The flap of the tent, the lamp inside, his father at the table. It's done, the boy says, or something like it. He sets the armor down where his father can see it. Decius, he challenged me by name. I took him. He waits for the face to change. His father does not look at the armor. His father looks at him, just at him. For a long moment, the 1 or 2 beats this man always takes. The beats the whole army knows. The pause before Manlius says anything at all. In that pause, the boy's certainty starts, for the first time, to thin. Not break, thin. He has been certain all day, and the certainty has carried him here. Now, in his father's silence, a small cold thing begins under it. He does not have a name for the cold thing yet. He will not get long to learn it. Decius challenged you, his father says, by name, in front of both patrols. He said. The boy stops. He had been about to repeat what Decius said. Your father gives orders. Are you a man under them or a man? He does not repeat it. Something tells him not to. The cold thing grows. And you left the line, his father says. It is not a question. Here is the father. We will not judge him. We will only watch him build the thing he builds. Manlius does not feel what you would expect him to feel. Or he does, and he does not let it reach the part of him that decides. He has spent a lifetime making sure the deciding part is sealed off from the feeling part. A man who decides with the feeling part is a man whose orders bend. And an order that bends is not an order. He built the sealed room in himself young. He has lived in it a long time. He is about to need it more than he has ever needed it. He does not call what is happening grief. He calls it the order. He had stood in front of 6,000 men 3 nights ago and said the words, "No man leaves the line. The punishment is death. Whoever does it." He had built the order to bind everyone. Now the order is being tested in the one way that proves whether it binds everyone, or only the men a commander does not love. If he spares the boy, the order is a lie. Every man who heard him say it will know it was a lie. The next time the line wavers, the next time a young man wants his name, he will remember. He will remember that the consul's son broke the order and lived. And he will break it too. And the line will come apart. And men will die. Not this boy. Other men. Many of them. The farmer, perhaps. The order exists so that the farmer does not die because a consul's son wanted glory. Manlius believes this. He believes it completely. He needs to believe it completely. Complete belief is the only thing that will let him do what he is about to do. The only thing that will let him go on living afterward. A man cannot do this halfway. Halfway would destroy him. So he goes all the way into the belief and shuts the door. The door is the order. And behind the door there is no boy. There is only a man who left the line. That is the trick of it. That is how a man does the unbearable thing. He stops, by an act of will, seeing the person. He sees only the rule the person broke. He will do this for the rest of his life with everything that costs too much to feel. He learned it tonight. He will be very good at it. It will make him, in time, the kind of man whose name becomes a word for harshness. And he will not mind, because by then the door will be the only room he lives in. You won, Manlius says. That was never the question. The boy understands now. All at once. The cold thing has a name, and the name is the order. He is inside it. He has been inside it the whole time. Since before Decius even spoke. Since the night 3 days ago when he stood in the lamplight and felt nothing. He felt nothing because he could not imagine the rule was for him. It was for him. It was always for him. It was perhaps written with him half in mind. The brave, hungry son of a famous father. The exact kind of young man who breaks a line for a name. His father had built the order knowing the shape of the man most likely to break it. And the shape was his own son's shape. And he built it anyway. And now here they are. The boy does not beg. We can say that for him. He is his father's son in this one last thing. He sees that there is no door because his father is the door, and you do not beg a door. Whatever passes between them in the last moments passes in the face. Not in words. Neither of them ever told anyone what it was. And so neither will we. Manlius gives the order to the army, not to the boy. That is the part the stories remember and the part that is worst. He does not have it done quietly. In the tent, a private grief made private. He has the army assembled. The same 6,000 who heard him promise the punishment 3 nights ago. He stands them in their ranks and he tells them what his son did. Plainly, the leaving of the line. And he tells them the punishment is the punishment he named. And that it falls the same on his own blood as it would fall on any of theirs. And then, in front of all of them, it is done. We will not describe it. The sources do not much, and where they do, we will not follow them. There is a man, and there is the army watching. And there is a father who has decided to be only the consul for as long as it takes. And then it is over. The thing the order required has been required. And the boy who rode home this morning inside the good morning is not inside anything anymore. A winning army should be loud. They had won the largest kind of victory. The kind a man tells his grandchildren about. The kind with a consul's sacrifice in it, and a broken enemy, and the road home open and safe. They should be drunk. They should be singing the filthy song soldiers sing. They should be alive in the particular way men are alive the night after they did not die. They are silent. 6,000 men, and you can hear the fires. You can hear the wind come down off the mountain. You can hear, far out, the last of the sound that is always the last to go. The hurt men in the dark. And tonight no one drowns it out. Tonight the living have nothing to say. They had watched 2 things today. They had watched a consul give himself to save them. And they had watched a consul kill his son to keep an order whole. Both men called it duty. The army cannot tell, tonight, whether the 2 things are the same thing or opposite things. and the not being able to tell is the heaviest thing any of them carries away from this field. Heavier than the loot, heavier than the wounds. The farmer is among them. He is alive. He is standing in a silent camp under a dark mountain. He has seen in one day the two faces of the thing he marched for. The consul who died for the line, the consul who killed for it. He does not have words for what he feels. He has only the silence which he is part of. It is the only honest response the army has, which is why the army chose it without anyone giving the order. Rome remembered both men. It made Decius a hero of the old kind, the man who gave himself, and it told his story for centuries with a catch in the throat. And it made Manlius a different kind of memory. It made him a word, permanent word, a word Romans used for centuries to mean the kind of command that does not bend for anyone. Manliana Imperia, Manlian orders. Notice what Rome did with it. It did not condemn him. It did not call him a monster. It used his name with respect, with a shiver, but with respect. Rome understood, in the cold place where it understood itself, that the unbending order was the thing that made Rome. The willingness to pay this price, the son's life, to hold the line. It was the same willingness that had ridden a consul into the enemy that very afternoon. Two prices paid the same day by two men who shared a command. One paid his own life. One paid his son's. Rome took both payments. Rome won. And Rome made sure, in how it remembered them, that no one would ever forget. No one would forget that it would pay either price again. The consul who died is buried with honor. The consul who killed goes home, in time, to a city that will use his name for 2,000 years. A name for a hardness it admires and fears. Neither man, as far as anyone recorded, ever said he was sorry. The fire is low in the tent now. No one tends it. Manlius sits where he sat. The armor is still on the floor where the boy set it down. He has not moved it. He will not, tonight. He sits in the sealed room he built in himself a long time ago. The room with no boy in it. Only an order. He keeps the door shut. He will keep it shut. That is how he will be able to stand up in the morning and lead the army home. A man can do almost anything if he can find the right word for it. He found his 9. The towns choose sides. Decius was decisive. It was not the end. This is the thing about a great battle. Feels like an ending while you are in it. The earth tilts. The enemy breaks. The field goes quiet. A man could be forgiven for thinking the war is over. It is not. A battle decides who is winning. It does not decide who has stopped. Some of the Latin towns had not stopped. The war went on through the rest of that year and into the next. Not in great battles now. In sieges. In the slow, dull, grinding work of taking a country one walled town at a time. There is no glory in this part, and the sources hurry through it, and so will we mostly. But we will not skip it entirely, because this is the part where Rome did the thing it was actually good at. Not the battle. Other peoples could win battles. The thing Rome did better than anyone was what came after the battle. The patient, unglamorous, town-by-town business of turning a victory into a possession. A town like Pedum holds out. A town like Tiber holds out. Praeneste holds out. Each one a wall, a gate, a few hundred men. Men who decided that the fall of the Latin cause did not mean they personally had to open their doors. Rome comes to each one in turn. Rome is good at coming to walls. A siege is not a battle. A battle is a day, an afternoon, a few terrible hours. A siege is weeks. It is the slow science of a wall. You build a ramp of earth toward it. You bring up the rams. You wait mostly. You wait while the town inside eats through its grain, and then through its animals, and then through the things a town eats when the animals are gone. Time is the weapon. Rome had learned to use time the way other peoples used iron, patiently, without anger, until the wall or the will behind it gave. The farmer hates the sieges more than the battles. A man can say that and mean it once he has done both. A battle is terror, but a battle ends. After it you are either alive or you are not. And the alive part of it is almost a joy. A siege is no terror at all. A siege is mud, and waiting, and dysentery in the camp. The same faces, the same bad food, and the slow knowledge of what is behind that wall. People exactly like the people in his own town, starving on his account. The farmer digs when he is told to dig. He stands watch when he is told to watch. He does not think about the people behind the wall. Thinking about them does not help. And a soldier learns early to stop doing the things that do not help. He has become good at not thinking. It is the most useful thing the army taught him, and the thing he will most wish when he is old that he had never learned. Some towns Rome storms, some it starves. Some open the gate at the sight of the army and the memory of Decius. They take their chances on Rome's mercy, which is real but not soft. And here is the pattern which matters more than any single siege. Rome did not treat them all the same. Rome watched how each town behaved, and remembered, and set the price accordingly. The town that opened early paid one price. The town that held to the last paid another. Rome was teaching a lesson town by town, and the lesson was simple. How you fall determines what you become. A small place, it opens its gates. The decision was made by old men in a hot room. Men too old to fight. Men too tired to die for a cause that has already lost on a field they never saw. They open the gates. They have decided that living matters more than the gesture. The Roman soldiers come in. The farmer is among them, perhaps. It does not matter which town. They all looked the same from inside the column. And here is the strange thing the town notices. The soldiers do not sack it. There is no fire. No women dragged into the street. No granaries emptied into Roman wagons. The town had braced for the old terror, the terror every town knows, and the terror does not come. Instead, the soldiers do something the town has no name for, something it finds, in a way it cannot explain, more frightening. They measure it. They count the houses. They count the men of fighting age. They walk the fields beyond the wall and pace them off. A clerk sits at a folding table in the square with a wax tablet and writes, and writes, and writes. The town stands in its own square and watches itself become a list. The stylus makes a small sound on the wax. A dry sound, a scratching. In the quiet of a town that expected to be screaming today, it is the loudest thing. An old woman watches the clerk from a doorway. She has lived through one sack long ago as a girl. She remembers the noise of it. She remembers thinking she would never forget the noise. And she finds, watching this quiet man with his tablet, that she would take the noise back. The noise ended. This man is writing something that will not. A sack is terrible, but a sack ends. The fire burns out. The wagons leave. What is taken is gone. And what is left is yours again, poorer, grieving, but yours. A town can survive a sack and still be a town. What Rome does is worse because it does not end. The clerk's list does not burn out. It goes back to Rome and it is filed. It becomes the permanent shape of the town in Rome's mind. So many men, so much land, so much grain. This is what you owe now. This is what you are, on paper, in a room in a city you have never seen. Forever. The sword takes what it can carry. The list takes what you are. And the list never gives it back. There is a deeper thing here, and it runs under everything that follows. It is worth saying plainly. An army can be beaten. A wall can be rebuilt. A burned field grows back in 3 years. But a town that has been written down is a town that has been changed. Changed in a way that does not grow back. It is in the system now. It has a number. Next year the number will be asked for soldiers. The year after, for grain. The town will give them because the number says it must. And giving them will become a habit. And the habit will become the truth of what the town is. Rome did not need to keep its army in the town. It left something better than an army. It left a line in a ledger. The town does not understand all this on the day the clerk sits down at his table. But it feels the cold of it. The old men who opened the gate to save their town have saved it into something. They do not yet know what. They know only that the soldiers who did not burn them were more thorough than soldiers who would have. That thoroughness has a patience to it that fire does not. And the patience is the frightening part. By the end of the campaign, Rome had taken the Latin towns. All of them, or near enough. Some by storm, some by siege. Some by the simple arithmetic of a town doing the sum and opening the gate. And Rome had not destroyed them. That is the part to hold on to, because it is the part that matters for everything that comes next. Rome did not raze the Latin towns and salt their fields and march home. A lesser power, a more frightened power, would have. Rome did something stranger and far more dangerous. Rome kept them. Kept the towns, kept the people, kept the fields and the men of fighting age. All of it written down on the clerk's tablets. All of it now Rome's to draw on. Rome had just fought a war against the men who fought its wars. It had won. And rather than throw those men away, it was going to keep them, and use them, and bind them into Rome by a set of arrangements that did not yet have a final shape. The shape was being decided now. In Rome, in the room with the worn floor, the towns had chosen sides town by town and lost town by town. And now the men in Rome would decide, town by town, what each loss would cost. Not all the same. Never all the same. Some towns would be made almost Roman. Some would be made half Roman. Some would be made into something with no good name at all. The farmer's town was among them, waiting for its number. He did not know yet what his town would be made into. He was still in the field, in the army, taking other towns. He would come home, eventually, to find out what he had become while he was away winning. That is the next chapter. The part where the war ends and the cost begins. The fighting is nearly done. The accounting is about to start. 10. Same war, different Romans. The war ended. The settlement did not. That is the thing to understand about what Rome did. In the year 338 BC, it did not write a peace. A peace is between equals or near equals, two sides agreeing to stop. Rome did not stop with the Latins. Rome dissolved them. The Latin League was the thing that died. For 300 years the Latin towns had been a league. A thing with its own meetings, its own shared festival, its own sense of being a we. They had been Rome's allies, but they had been allies as a group. A bloc. A thing that could send one man named Annius to speak for all of them. Rome ended that. After the war, there was no more league. There were no more shared meetings. There was no more we. There was only Rome and a scattering of separate towns. Each one now dealing with Rome alone, by itself, with no brothers beside it. Rome had taken a bundle of sticks and untied it into single sticks. A single stick is a thing you can break. A bundle is not. This is the coldest kind of victory, and it does not look like a victory at all. There is no monument to it. There is no battle named for it. There is only the quiet fact. A thing which used to be able to speak with one voice could no longer speak at all. Then came the grades. Rome did not give the Latin towns one fate. It gave them several, and which one a town got depended on what Rome had decided that town was worth. Some towns were made fully Roman. Full citizenship. Their men could vote in Rome, stand for office in Rome, be Romans in every way the word meant. These were the towns Rome trusted or wanted, or found it useful to bind close. Some towns were given citizenship without the vote. Civitas sign suffragio, the citizenship without the suffrage. They were Romans now on paper. They paid Roman taxes. They served in Roman wars. They carried Roman obligations. And they could not vote. They had all the weight of being Roman and none of the voice of it. Some towns were kept as allies with their own laws, but stripped of the right to deal with anyone but Rome. They could not make their own treaties. They could not marry across to the next town without Rome's leave. They were free in name and fenced in fact. And some towns lost their land and got nothing and were simply absorbed. For grades. For different answers to the question of what a defeated friend is worth. And no town chose its grade. The grade was assigned in Rome in the room with the worn floor, by men who had never seen most of the towns they were sorting. Picture two towns a morning's walk apart. For 300 years they had been the same kind of place. The same league, the same festival, the same gods, the same wars. Their young people married across the few miles between them as easily as crossing a stream. Their old men knew each other's names. And now one town is made fully Roman, and the other is made half Roman, the kind that cannot vote. The line between them, which was never a line at all, is suddenly the most important fact about either place. The full citizens can rise in Rome. The half-citizens cannot. A marriage between the two towns is now a marriage across a border that did not exist a year ago. Rome drew the border with a stylus, on a tablet, in a room neither town would ever see, and the border held for centuries. The two towns that had been one kind of thing slowly became two kinds of thing. That is what borders do to the people on either side of them, given time. That is the genius and the cruelty of it together. Rome did not need walls between the towns. It needed only a difference in what they were allowed to be written down, and time did the rest. The farmer comes home. He comes home in the autumn. After the campaigns on roads he has walked his whole life. The country is the same. The hills are where the hills were. The river runs where it ran. From the rise above his own land he can see the smoke of his own hearth. Thin and straight, the way it was the morning he knelt at the stone. The stone is still there. He goes to it before he goes to the house. He does not know why. His knees are worse now after the campaign, and he does not kneel this time. He just stands in front of it. It has learned the weather now. It is no longer clean and new. It is gray like the others, dark at the base where the rain pools. It looks like it has been there forever. That is the trick of stones. Give them one winter and they look eternal. From here, Rome. The marks still say it. But the word means something different now, and the farmer is the difference. His town got the second grade. Citizenship without the vote. He is a Roman now. Legally, formally, on the clerk's tablet in the city he has still never seen, he is a Roman citizen. He still cannot vote. He will still be called to march. More often now, in fact. Now he is Roman, and Rome's wars are his wars by law, not just by arrangement. He has gained the name and kept the silence. The thing Annius asked for, the voice in the room, he did not get. What he got was the obligation without the voice, which is the exact thing he already had, made permanent, and given a Roman name so that no one would ever again be able to ask the question Annius asked. Because on paper the question was now answered. He is Roman. What is he complaining about? He is not complaining. That is the thing. He does not even have the words for a complaint. He stands in front of the stone, a Roman who cannot vote. A man who will march until he is too old to march. And he feels what he felt 2 years ago and could not name. Except now it is heavier. Now it is settled. The question did not get an answer. The question got closed. The Latins asked if they were equal. Rome did not say no. Rome did something cleverer than no. Rome said, "You are Roman now, and the question of equality is therefore meaningless. There is no longer a Latin to be equal to a Roman. There is only Rome with its grades, and you are one of the grades." Rome did not lose the argument. Rome dissolved the ground the argument stood on. And here is the part that should keep you up. The 4 grades of men. The full citizens and the half-citizens and the fenced allies and the absorbed. The next time Rome went to war, they all marched together. In one army, under the same eagles. The full Roman and the man who could not vote. Side by side in the line as they had always been. The difference between them invisible in the dust. It worked. That is the unbearable thing. It worked beautifully. Rome had built a machine for turning conquered enemies into soldiers, and conquered friends into citizens of carefully measured worth. The machine produced the largest pool of fighting men in the known world. All of them bound to Rome, most of them unable to vote in it. How long can a thing like that hold? A people who fight for a state and cannot steer it, marching beside the people who can? Nobody asked. The army formed. The army marched. The machine ran. It ran for a very long time. Long enough that everyone forgot it was a machine. They started to think it was just the shape of the world. And then, much later, in a season we have not reached yet, the men who could not vote remembered something. They remembered that they had once sent a man named Annius to ask. And they asked again. And the second time they did not send one man with words. They sent armies. But that is 200 years away. The farmer will be long dead. His grandchildren's grandchildren will be the ones who ask again. Tonight he just goes inside. The fire is lit. His wife is there. She fell asleep waiting and woke at his step, the way competent people wake all at once, completely. He does not tell her about the stone. There is still no way to say it. He eats. The bread is fresh tonight. She baked it knowing he was near. Outside. The stone stands in the dark, gray and eternal looking. It marks the line between what he is and what he can never be. It will stand there for 400 years. He sleeps. He always does. The war is over. The settlement is signed. And the question that started it is not gone. It has only been written down, filed, and given a name that hides it. It will keep until the men who carry it forget they are carrying it. And then it will keep a while longer. And then one day it will come due. Writer's note: I do not read the Latin war as a victory. The Latins asked a question. They asked if they were equal. Rome did not answer it. Rome made sure it could not be asked again. A father killed his son to keep an order intact. A consul rode into the enemy and died to keep a wing from breaking. Both men called it duty. Neither man called it the cost. Rome won the war. The question it could not answer is still in the army, marching in the next campaign. Next time, a valley in the mountains. The grass is good. The water is cold. Both ways out are closed, and the Romans have not noticed yet.